Welcome back to WagerTalk TV. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio with my man, VR. You can follow him at Greek_Gambler. We're going to preview the Baltimore-Pittsburgh game, and this preview is brought to you by WagerTalk.eu. Get a 70% welcome bonus up to $1,000 using promo code WT70 when signing up. This offer is exclusive to WagerTalk viewers. All right, VR, you know I follow the Steelers. You know I'm locked in on them. Knock on wood, guys. We've done the video each week right here doing the Steelers. My pick's 3-0, going against them in week 1, going with the over in week 2, and taking the Steelers in week 3. So you cannot call me a homer. I've actually only bet the Steelers once, and it happened to be the game they actually won.
They held on.
It was a little tense. We were watching Monday Night Football, and, I got to tell you guys, Monday Night Football, you're in a bar, you're in a restaurant, you're eating up,
chicken
wings, a bar full of drinks. My man, VR, he's drinking Pinot.
A nice Pinot I asked for, actually.
You did. And they brought you a Chablis first, and then you wanted a red. So our other buddy,
Mark took it down. He had no problem.
Hey, don't waste that. I'll take care of it.
Indeed.
But let's get to this game. And now all the talk, Pittsburgh. They scored 30 points. Big Ben put up huge numbers. And how about the stiff arm? McDonald. That was the stiff arm of all time.
That was awesome.
For a 75-yard touchdown play. I'll ask you, are the Steelers back?
I don't think they were ever gone. I thought it was going to be a transition this year. You knew it coming into the season. You talked about the problems they were going to have defensively. But more importantly, I thought the offense was going to take a while to click because you have a new offensive coordinator, and more importantly, an offensive coordinator who hasn't called plays at the NFL level ever, and the last time he called plays was 2006 for Bowling Green, 12 years ago. And now all of a sudden you're in the NFL level calling plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers, trying to run up tempo also. That's a lot of pressure. So I thought it would take a little bit, to see that offense start clicking. Now they've been putting up points week in and week out. It just hadn't turned out their way until last week. I don't know what to think with the Steelers. I'll tell you this, based on early in the season, they are undervalued. And here's what I mean by that. Even though the look ahead for this game was 3.5, and they opened it 3.5 plus 110 or 3 minus 120, pretty much the same thing. If you looked at game of the year lines, right before the season starts, how you could bet games for the whole year, this one,
CG's the one that puts those out.
They had the Steelers -6
right
for this game, 6.5. So it's a 3.5 point adjustment after 3 weeks of football. Now, is that warranted? Maybe. Does Baltimore look, better than we expected? I don't know. I thought Baltimore was supposed to be good this year, be improved at least, and they had a good year last year.
Baltimore, they had a good year last year record-wise. Offensively, the team suffered offensively, and they needed to step it up. If you remember when we did videos and I did my futures, Baltimore was my go-to team. I had Baltimore on a season win over. I had Baltimore to make the playoffs, and I had them to actually upset the Steelers and win this division. I like Baltimore. But now for this game, we know what Pittsburgh-Baltimore brings to the table. It's going to be a war. All of them are wars. If you go back, you'll find more games in this series fall on to number 3, and we know that
toss the records out the window.
We know that 3 is the most common number in the NFL, but when it involves these two teams, it seems to happen more often. Last year, they had the 39-38 sensational game, the stretch over the goal line, which was the stretch that got the Steelers into the playoffs, and wasn't the nail in the coffin for Baltimore because all they had to do was beat Cincinnati in the final week of the season, and they would have been in the playoffs, but they didn't. So they cost them the playoffs. But what everybody's looking at, where I think the value is, I think the number 3 is where it should be. Pittsburgh is slightly down from the start of the season. Baltimore definitely up from the start of the season. So I can see the movement. The total's out of control. And they're putting this based on the Steelers' last 2 games. You had the shootout with Kansas City, and then you had the 30-27 with Tampa Bay. First of all, we know Pittsburgh's defense is not good, but they're playing a team, Baltimore, like you said, you throw out all the stats. These two teams know each other so well that they become wars. They're physical wars. If you go back to that total last year, and everybody's saying, well, look what they did in the game last year. So the total when this one opened up at 48 was the look ahead. Now it's 48.5, and now it's 51. It's too much of an adjustment for these two teams. That 39-38 last year, Ace, that was the first game after the Ryan Shazier injury. Pittsburgh was devastated. They didn't know if this guy was going to walk again.
Yeah.
He was the quarterback of the defense. So forget about that. If you look at the last 7 meetings between these two teams, the under is 4-2-1. One of those two was the last game last year. I like the under here. Go back to Monday's game. If you look at how that game played out, it took that last touchdown to send them over the total. But think about the plays during the game. You had the 75-yard stiff arm. That was supposed to be a 15-yard out and pushed out of bounds. He goes 75 yards for a touchdown in that one. Big play, quick score. How about the turnovers? When you talk about turnovers, they work both ways. Where did it happen on the field? Was the turnover stop a score or create a score? Well, most of those turnovers created scores.
Yeah.
The first one, Roethlisberger gave Tampa Bay the ball inside the 50. Their short field, they score a touchdown. Then you had the 10-yard interception for a touchdown. You had the one where another one deep in Tampa Bay territory, a fumble, Pittsburgh picked it up and then had a short field for a drive. Those are quick scores that sent that game over the total. You can't always count on those. And yes, Pittsburgh's defense is bad, but these two teams know each other well. Division games have a tendency to go under the total because you know the strengths and weaknesses and you know better how to prepare for them. I like the under. That's my official play to try to keep my streak going on the Steelers. How do you see this?
I think you're on the right side. I agree with you. I think the line's where it should be to get good two-way action. I think they're going to get more Baltimore money, especially Baltimore on a teaser, getting almost double digits, looks attractive in a
Which if
big
you go to a 7-point teaser,
game,
you can get it to 10.
Yeah, divisional game, and they usually play tight ball games. It looks real attractive. So I could see Baltimore money coming in. I don't love it. I agree with you. I think the value is on the total, and I think the reason for it also is the way the game's going to play out. Baltimore has to run the football more than they have this season. You have Alex Collins, who last year was 4th in rushing success rate, and that was against the 8th toughest run defense in the NFL, schedule-wise. They did this. With the most hurt offensive line in the NFL, they did this. Why they're not giving this kid the ball more this year, I have no idea. I think that changes and they start running it a little more. That'll help move the clock as well. I agree with you. I think the under is the way to play this game.
And I also forgot one of the biggest factors. In that game on Monday, there was 235 yards of penalties. Now, normally, penalties are like turnovers. What kind of penalties are they? Are they penalties that stall drives or penalties that
keep them going? And
those were all those stupid hits on the quarterbacks in interference calls. There weren't that many holding calls in there that
pulled them back.
They were all pushing them forward. So that helped in the scoring as well.
In the end zone, pass interference, that kind of stuff. And what you said, 4 or 6 games went under prior to that 38-39. And I bet most of those, would venture a guess, weren't in the 50s.
No, none of them were. None of them were. This is the highest total of the Pittsburgh-Baltimore one. The highest one I saw was 48 in the last 7. Hey, guys, it's the under. That's where we're going. And, guys, we've got a couple bonus offers for you guys this week. I'm coming off a great week last week. I'll admit I had a slow start to the NFL. Not to the NFL. We got out of the gate with the NFL right away. College was a slow start. Last week, we kicked butt. Our football plays for the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we went 6-0. All plays, baseball and football, 11-3 the last 10 days, up almost 30% profit in that 10-day period. We're getting hot and we're ready to roll. And if you want to come on board with us, you can get a special offer from me. My 30-day all-access package is normally $325. If you use coupon code MARCO75, I'll take $75 off the 30-day package. That'll get it 30 days for $250. But if you want the absolute best deal, I only do this a couple times a year. A full 12-month subscription to my service is $1,750. If you act now and use coupon code MARCO1, you can get a full 12-month subscription for $999. It's the best way to come on board. It costs you less than $3 a day to have me all year long. That's baseball, football, basketball, hockey, any special things, Triple Crown races. You know what we've done in those. You get it all. 12 months, $999. Don't forget, you like our videos, hit that thumbs up button. Be sure to share it with all your friends and leave us a comment down below. We'll be back with more here on WagerTalk TV.